During the first day, these were the thoughts going through my head. From the previous night, I'd realised that the rudders were smashed up into the hull and the motors were also dislodged with damage around here. What I figured I could do to save on resin is I could actually saw down here and separate this rudder from the hull. I had a saw on board. Now, it might still move, it might still operate it. It's not going to be a deep rudder, it's going to be rough because this is probably all damaged in here too, but it might give me some directional control. The big point about it is I didn't have to seal this part of the hull at all because it had its own separate compartment. So I could just let this flood and it probably would have only flooded 20 or 30 litres. Same thing here. The engine actually was in its own separate compartment. There was a door though that I'd have to seal up, and I could probably do that with silicone, which I had on board. So I didn't have to worry about sealing this. I could just ignore it completely and I could use all the resin I had for the problems with the hull. But when I jumped in, I quickly realised I just didn't have enough. There were holes everywhere. This is the hole I knew about last night, but there were holes behind it, and I just wasn't going to be able to do all of those jobs with the limited resin I had on board. So the only way I was going to solve this problem is to hitch a lift to Darwin, get a hell of a lot of gear, have someone come down and stand by, seal up the boat, and have this boat either tow me to Darwin or stand by as I tried to sail it there. The other alternative would be to get a barge and either drag it on or crane it on and get it to Darwin, but that would have been hugely expensive, way beyond my means. I think the hull's getting more waterlogged because we're sitting lower. We're about 120 mil lower than yesterday or this morning. And we got to move the boat today. That was a good thing. That kept us occupied. We're still not in the best position, but it was still a success moving this boat because, boy, it just didn't want to move. It must weigh 40 tonne with all of this water in it. And the tender doesn't do anything. We've got a full revs. Margarita's feeling a little bit funny. This diesel smell, I think we've ruptured a fuel line. So it's not adding to the general peachiness. We've got a boat.
There's a light there. We're disconnecting the radio. So we see if we can contact the boat.
Pan, 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 pan. This is the yacht Long Reef. Long Reef, Long Reef. You copy over.
Come on. See? There's a boat. Hopefully they can see our signs.
We'll do it again. Oh no, parachutes failed on that one. Pan, 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 pan. This is the yacht Long Reef. We are in York Sound. We can see lights. Do you copy over?
Sailboat calling this is Caledonian Sky. This is Caledonian Sky.
Copy that. We are north of Davenport Island. We are a catamaran, 42 foot. There's 2 people on board. We've hit some rocks. We're not in danger of losing our lives. The boat is floating.
So, can you see our lights now?
Yes.
Yeah. Where's he gone?
I'm here.
Where's he gone?
Why he went away?
He's behind that island.
We're waiting to the ship to come back, so if we see lights, we talk to them on the radio and then try to see what is our location.
Power left on the
On the batteries, beep, warning, like I'm going to die, I'm going to die, I'm going to die.
How many persons?
Just 2.
2 people, okay. The only question is whether we do it in the dark or do it in daylight.
We don't mind waiting for the morning.
I can't get in too close to you there, but I'll come as close as I can and we'll send a Zodiac over.
We hit something was not on the charts. The reef extends an extra 300 metres beyond the shoaling area, so make sure you give that a wide berth.
Okay, well tell you what then, I'll come into the north of it because I can see that pretty clearly.
I saw some lights earlier and we've only got a thin part of the horizon that we can see anything. It's some large commercial operator. We got 2 duckies coming from the boat.
We'll try to come and try to rescue. This is Peter's life. Yeah, so much.
Thank you guys for coming to pick us up.
This is a big ship.
All the bags can go to 433. 433? Yeah. You got your passports or?
Yes, yes.
Good morning. So here they are.
Good morning.
You know, we're not even supposed to stop here. It's not on our itinerary, so I have to tell them, you know, we dig in.
Why?
And they're not going to jack up about it. I mean, you know, as I said, this is just one of those things.
Well, we got to Darwin 4 days later. Many thanks to the captain and crew of the Caledonian Sky. That was the vessel that came and picked us up. They really did look after us. And so did the people of Darwin. They gave us a place to stay and they looked after the tender for us. So good on you people. Thank you for that. As to the salvage of Longreef, look, I was hopeful at the start. Some people would say foolishly hopeful, but it was my home of 7 years, so I had to have that. But as the days passed and I investigated further, look, I knew it was going to be difficult. It was 370 nautical miles away from Darwin. It was in the middle of the sticks, coupled with the fact that we had limited funds. But the main reason was we simply couldn't get a vessel to come down with us and stand by. It was late in the Kimberley's touring season and people had already done their trips. They were already heading south or north. So we just couldn't get down there. So it was less hopeful. And then there was a flyby by plane and they reported that Longreef was no longer at the last place that I left it and it was up on more rocks. And then a passing yachty, he saw Longreef up on the rocks, went to investigate it and contacted me and the damage was massive. So Longreef was lost to us.